The massive council chamber stretched out like a silver ocean before Ambassador Tai-Ho Kim. Hundreds of alien beings filled the curved seating areas, their strange forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. But something felt wrong. Every single creature in the room seemed nervous. Tai-Ho walked slowly down the center aisle toward the speaking platform. His footsteps echoed in the quiet space. As he moved, he noticed how the aliens reacted. They pressed back into their seats. Their large eyes followed his every movement. Some covered their faces with thin, delicate hands. Behind him, Dr. Mina Park carried the human delegation's research files. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life forms. As she walked, she watched the alien behavior with growing curiosity. These beings all acted the same way. They sat in tight groups, their heads turned constantly, looking around the room. When any sound happened, they all jumped at once. The Velkari delegate sat in the front row. The Velkari looked like tall, thin people with skin that changed colors like a rainbow, but their eyes were enormous, taking up half their face. As Tai-Ho approached the speaking platform, he smiled and nodded at the Velkari delegate. The alien creature made a high-pitched noise and fell sideways in its chair. Other Velkari rushed to help their fallen companion. They picked up the unconscious delegate and carried it away from Tai-Ho as quickly as possible. Dr. Park frowned. She had studied many alien species during their journey to this meeting. Every single species they had met showed the same patterns: large eyes for better vision, excellent hearing, fast reflexes, long legs for running. Bodies built for speed, not strength. Tai-Ho reached the speaking platform and turned to face the council. The sight made his breath catch in his throat. Hundreds of alien beings stared at him with obvious fear. Some held their hands over their faces, peeking through their fingers. Others whispered to each other in voices so quiet he could barely hear them. The council leader was a creature called a Nethrian. It looked like a giant bird with 4 arms and feathers that sparkled like jewels. When it spoke, its voice shook. "Human delegation," the Nethrian said. "We welcome you to the Galactic Council. Please state your purpose." Tai-Ho smiled again. This time, nearly half the council chamber made worried noises. He quickly stopped smiling and spoke in the calmest voice he could manage. "We come in peace," Tai-Ho said. "Humanity wishes to join the galactic community. We want to share knowledge and build friendships with all species." A creature that looked like a walking tree raised one of its branch-like arms. "Human Tai-Ho Kim, why do your eyes face forward?" The question surprised Tai-Ho. He looked around the chamber and suddenly understood. Every alien in the room had eyes, on the sides of their heads. Wide-set eyes that could see in all directions at once. His forward-facing eyes made him different. Wrong somehow. "Our eyes help us focus on what is in front of us," Tai-Ho answered honestly. The tree creature made a rustling sound that might have been fear. "Only hunters have forward eyes. Only predators." The word predator swept through the chamber like wildfire. Aliens began talking to each other in dozens of different languages. The sound grew louder and more panicked. Several creatures near the back of the room stood up and walked toward the exits. Dr. Park stepped forward. As a scientist, she wanted to understand what was happening. "May I ask about your species' evolution? How did your people develop intelligence?" A small furry creature that looked like a rabbit stood on its chair. "My people, the Corvani, gained intelligence by learning to hide better. We built underground cities. We learned to be very quiet. We survived by never being seen." Other aliens began sharing their stories. The tall blue Zenthari evolved from creatures that lived in trees and could jump between branches faster than any predator could follow. The crystal-skinned Keth developed, their hard shells to protect themselves while they hid in caves. The floating Yildari learned to fly higher than any ground-based hunter could reach. Every single story was the same. Every species in the galaxy had evolved from prey animals, creatures that survived by running, hiding, or defending themselves. Not one species had evolved from hunters. Tai-Ho felt a chill run down his spine. Humans were different, very different. Humanity had evolved from persistence hunters, Early humans chased their prey across vast distances until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. They worked together in groups to surround and capture much larger animals. They made tools and weapons. They were apex predators. Security Chief Jin-Ho Lee stood near the chamber entrance. He was a big man with broad shoulders and confident posture. When he moved, every alien in the room tracked his movement like he was a dangerous animal. He noticed their behavior and tried to appear less threatening by slouching and moving more slowly. The council leader, the Nethrian, spoke again. Human delegation, we must ask direct questions. Did your species evolve from hunters? Tai-Ho knew he had to tell the truth. Yes, early humans were persistence hunters. We chased our prey over long distances. We used tools and teamwork to hunt animals much larger than ourselves. The chamber fell completely silent. The silence stretched on for long minutes. Then slowly, aliens began to leave. They did not run. They walked calmly toward the exits. But they kept their eyes on the humans at all times. Within 10 minutes, half the chamber was empty. The Nethrian leader's feathers had turned dark blue, which Dr. Park guessed meant fear or distress. Human delegation, you will be escorted to guest quarters. The council must discuss this situation. 6. Security guards entered the chamber, but these guards stayed far away from the humans. They formed a wide circle around Tai-Ho and his team. As they walked toward the exit, the remaining aliens pressed themselves against the walls to stay as far away as possible. Dr. Park whispered to Tai-Ho, "They are all afraid of us. Every single species in this galaxy evolved from prey animals. They are programmed by millions of years of evolution to fear predators like us." Tai-Ho nodded grimly. First contact was not going as anyone had planned. Humanity had traveled across the galaxy hoping to make friends. Instead, they had discovered they were the monsters that every other intelligent species had nightmares about. As they walked through the corridors of the massive station, Tai-Ho wondered if humans would ever find acceptance among the stars. How? Do you make friends with people who see you as their natural enemy? The guest quarters were comfortable but felt like a prison. The doors could only be opened from the outside. Guards stood watch in the hallways. Through the large windows, Tai-Ho could see alien ships leaving the station. Humanity had made first contact, but instead of opening doors to the galaxy, they might have just closed them forever. 3 weeks had passed since the humans arrived at the galactic station. Dr. Seokjin Choi sat in a small interview room across from a Corvani delegate. The rabbit-like creature kept its large ears moving constantly, listening for any sound of danger. Its nose twitched every few seconds. "Tell me about your people's early history," Dr. Choi said in a gentle voice. He had learned to speak very softly around the aliens. Loud voices made them panic. The Corvani delegate, whose name was Pip Kor, pressed itself against the back wall of the room. "My ancestors lived in deep burrows. They had many tunnels and secret exits. When predators came, they would hide until the danger passed. The smart ones remembered which tunnels were safest. Over time, the smartest ones survived and had children." Dr. Choi made notes on his tablet. He had heard similar stories from 12 different species. The Zenthari evolved from tree creatures that jumped between branches to escape ground hunters. The Keth came from small animals that hid under rocks during the day. The Yildari developed from creatures that could float in the air to avoid land predators. Every species had the same pattern. Intelligence came from being better at hiding, running, or avoiding danger. None of them evolved from hunters. "What happened to the predators on your world?" Dr. Choi asked. Pipcor's ears drooped. "They all died out. The smart prey animals got too good at hiding. The predators could not find enough food. They starved, or killed each other fighting over what little prey they could catch." This was new information. Dr. Choi leaned forward carefully. "All the predators died?" "Yes. On every world we know about, the predators went extinct before they could develop intelligence. That is why your people frighten us so much. You are something that should not exist." Meanwhile, engineer Yoonji Song was in the station's technology center, studying alien inventions. She found the differences between human and alien technology fascinating and disturbing. A Zenthari engineer named Blue Wing showed her around the facility. Blue Wing was 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that changed colors with her emotions. Right now her skin was a nervous green color. "This is our surveillance system," Blue Wing explained. "It can detect movement from very far away. We use it to watch for dangerous things." Yunji looked at the massive screens showing every corridor of the station. "It's very advanced. Did your people develop this technology early in your civilization?" "Oh yes," Blue Wing said. "Watching for danger was the first technology every species invented. After that came hiding devices, camouflage systems, and escape pods." Yunji nodded. Human technology had developed very differently. Humans invented tools first. Weapons came next. Then vehicles for exploration and conquest. Surveillance technology came much later in human history. "What about weapons?" Yunji asked. "For protection?" Blue Wing's skin turned a darker shade of green. "We have defensive shields and barriers. But weapons for attacking? That technology was banned by the Galactic Council long ago. Only predator species make weapons for hunting." The conversation was interrupted when Captain Dan Yu's voice came through the communication system. "All human personnel report to the main conference room immediately." Yunji found the rest of the human team gathering in their quarters. Captain Yu held a datapad with a serious expression on her face. "I've received a message from something called the Thoraxian Coalition," Captain Yu announced. "They represent 15 of the most powerful species in the galaxy." She activated a holographic display. The message appeared in the air above them. It was written in standard galactic script, which all the humans had learned during their journey. "To the human delegation," Captain Yu read aloud. "After careful study of your species, the Thoraxian Coalition has reached a conclusion. Humanity must be classified as a Class X predator species. Such classifications require immediate exile to the outer rim of the galaxy. You have 7 days to leave Council space." Dr. Park looked shocked. "They want to exile us?" "It gets worse, Captain." Yu continued reading. The message explains their reasoning. According to their records, no predator-evolved species has ever developed space travel before going extinct. They believe predator psychology makes long-term civilization impossible. Security Chief Jinho Lee stepped forward. "What does that mean exactly?" Dr. Choi answered. "It means they think we are doomed to destroy ourselves. Every predator species they know about became too aggressive and violent. They either destroyed their own planets or killed each other in endless wars." The room fell quiet as everyone absorbed this information. They had come to the galaxy hoping to make friends and share knowledge. Instead, they were being told they were a dangerous species that could not be trusted. "There's more," Captain Yu said. "The Coalition is demanding that we accept genetic modification to suppress our predator instincts. If we refuse, we face complete isolation from galactic civilization." Before anyone could respond, Communications Officer Jiho Kang burst into the room. He was young and excited, not yet understanding how serious their situation had become. "Captain, you need to see what just happened in Corridor 7, Jiho said breathlessly. They followed him to a viewing screen that showed the station's main diplomatic area. 2 alien species were having a heated argument. The Zenthari delegation was facing off against a group of Keth representatives. Both sides were making aggressive gestures and shouting in their native languages. "They've been fighting about trade agreements for an hour," Jiho explained. Security was about to intervene when something interesting happened. On the screen they watched Jiho himself walking into the corridor. He was simply trying to get to the communication center. But as soon as he appeared, both groups of arguing aliens immediately stopped shouting. The Zenthari and Keth delegates looked at Jiho with wide eyes. Then they looked at each other. Without saying another word, both groups moved to the same side of the corridor. They stood together, watching Jiho walk past. "They stopped fighting the moment they saw a human," Dr. Park observed. "They saw you as a bigger threat than each other." After Jiho disappeared from the screen, the 2 alien groups quietly returned to their separate areas. The argument was completely forgotten. "This is remarkable," Dr. Choi said. "Our presence actually stopped a conflict between 2 species. They put aside their differences when faced with what they perceive as an apex predator." Captain Yu stared at the screen thoughtfully. The Coalition thinks we're too dangerous to exist, but maybe our predator nature could actually help bring peace to the galaxy. Engineer Song looked confused. How could being predators help anyone? Think about it, Dr. Park explained. In nature, prey animals often stop fighting each other when a predator appears. They focus on the bigger threat. Maybe that's what just happened. The humans spent the rest of the day discussing their situation. They were caught between two impossible choices: accept genetic modification and lose what made them human, or face exile from galactic civilization. But Jiho's accidental peacekeeping gave them a third option to consider. Maybe humanity's role in the galaxy was not to hide their predator nature, but to use it responsibly. As night fell on the station, Captain Yu made a decision. Tomorrow she would request another meeting with the Galactic Council. Humanity would not run away or change themselves to fit in. Instead, they would prove that predators could be more than just hunters. They could be protectors. The Galactic Council chamber looked different than before. Only half the seats were filled, and those aliens who remained sat as far from the human delegation as possible. The Nethrian Council leader's feathers had turned a dark gray color. Human delegation, the leader announced. The Council has decided to offer you a chance to prove your intentions. You will investigate the disappearances in the Korath Nebula. Ambassador Taiho Kim felt his stomach drop. He had read about the Korath Nebula during their preparation. Dozens of ships from various species had vanished there over the past year. No distress signals. No wreckage found. Ships simply entered the nebula and never came out. We accept this mission, Taiho said, though he suspected this was meant to be their death sentence. 3 days later, pilot Hyuna Nam sat in the cockpit of the human scout ship approaching the Korath Nebula. The nebula stretched across space like a purple and gold cloud. It was beautiful but somehow felt wrong. Too quiet. Too empty. Sensors are picking up debris fields, reported Dr. Kyung-Soo Lim from his position at the science station. But something strange about the patterns. Captain Yu studied the readings on her screen. What kind of strange? The debris is scattered in specific ways, like the ships were attacked by something that knew exactly where to strike for maximum damage. Hyuna guided their ship deeper into the nebula. The purple clouds swirled around, them limiting their vision. She had to rely on instruments to navigate, but even those readings seemed unclear. Contact ahead, Dr. Lim announced. It's big, much bigger than any ship in our records. Through the nebula clouds they saw it, a massive structure made of dark metal, covered in strange symbols. It looked ancient, like it had been floating in space for thousands of years. It's not a ship, Hyuna said softly. It's some kind of station or base. As they approached, the structure suddenly came alive. Lights appeared along its surface. Weapon ports opened. Scanner beams swept across their ship. We're being scanned, Dr. Lim reported. But the scanning pattern is unusual. It's not looking for our ship specifications. It's scanning our life signs. The ancient station's weapons began to move, tracking their ship. But then something unexpected happened. The weapons stopped moving. The scanning beams shut off. The lights dimmed. What just happened? Captain Yu asked. Dr. Lim checked his readings 3 times before answering. I think it can't identify us. The scanning system seems designed to recognize specific types of life forms, but our neural patterns don't match anything in its database. Hyuna brought their ship closer to the station. As they approached, they could see the wreckage of dozens of alien ships floating nearby. All showed the same type of damage, precise strikes to critical systems. This thing has been hunting ships, Captain Yu realized, but it can't hunt us because we don't fit its target profile. They docked with the ancient station and explored its corridors. The walls were covered in writing from a civilization none of them recognized. Dr. Lim used his translation equipment to work on deciphering the symbols. After 2 hours of work, he made a breakthrough. I've got some of the writing translated. This station was built by a species called the Keth Mori. According to these records, they were apex predators like us. The team gathered around as Dr. Lim continued reading. The Keth Mori built this system to protect their territory from invasion. It was programmed to hunt down any ships that entered their space. What happened to them? Taeho asked. Dr. Lim's face grew dark as he read more. They destroyed themselves in civil wars. The station says they were too aggressive to maintain a stable civilization. They fought each other until their entire species went extinct. Captain Yu studied the station's schematics on her datapad. So this thing has been operating automatically for thousands of years, hunting any ship that comes through this nebula. But why doesn't it attack us? Huna wondered. Because, Dr. Lim explained, it was programmed to hunt prey species. The Eindai Kethmori designed it to eliminate anything that might threaten their territory. But they never considered that another predator species might develop space travel. The station's hunting system was sophisticated but flawed. It could perfectly track and destroy ships crewed by prey-evolved species. Their neural patterns, behavioral responses, and ship designs all fit the station's target parameters. But humans registered as something impossible in its programming, intelligent predators with advanced technology. We need to shut this thing down, Captain Yu decided. It's been murdering innocent travelers for centuries. The team spent the next day studying the station's systems. The ancient Kethmori had been clever hunters, but they thought like predators. The station's defenses were designed to overwhelm prey through superior firepower and hunting tactics. Yuna suggested their approach. We don't fight it like prey would. We hunt it like predators. They divided into teams and moved through the station systematically. Instead of running from the automated defenses, they stalked them. Instead of trying to avoid the security systems, they tracked them down and disabled them one by one. Security Chief Jinho Lee used patience and observation to locate the station's central control room. Rather than rushing in, he watched the automated guards for hours, learning their patrol patterns. When he finally moved, it was with the calculated precision of an apex predator. Engineer Song approached the station's power systems like a hunter tracking prey. She followed power conduits and data cables, learning the station's weaknesses before striking at exactly the right moment. Dr. Lim worked to understand the station's programming by thinking like the Kethmori who built it. He anticipated their logic, predicted their safeguards, and found ways around their security measures. Working together, the human team dismantled a system that had terrorized the galaxy for thousands of years. They didn't destroy it through superior technology or overwhelming force. They defeated it by thinking like the predators they were. When the station finally shut down, the team felt a mix of victory and unease. They had proven they could succeed where prey species failed. But they had also discovered the fate of the last predator species to reach the stars. The Galactic Council is monitoring our mission, Captain Yu reminded them. They'll see exactly how we handled this situation. Taeho understood the implications. The aliens would witness humans using predator tactics to solve a problem that had stumped the galaxy for centuries. Instead of proving they were harmless, they had demonstrated just how effective human hunting instincts could be. As their ship left the nebula, they carried news of their success back to the Council. But Taeho wondered if their victory would bring acceptance or even greater fear. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just look like predators, they thought like them, planned like them, and hunted like them. And that realization would change everything. 6 months had passed since the Korath Nebula mission. Dr. Wanchik Park sat in the station's archives, reading through thousands of years of galactic history. The records told a disturbing pattern that made his hands shake as he read. The humans had been given a new title by the Galactic Council. They were now called Galactic Shepherds. It sounded peaceful, but Dr. Park understood what it really meant. Whenever there was a threat too dangerous for prey species to handle, they called the humans. Last month, Specialist Soman Choi had led a team to rescue researchers from the Vale Station. Strange creatures that fed on fear had invaded the facility. The alien researchers could not fight them because their evolutionary programming forced them to run away in terror. The humans eliminated the threat in 3 hours. 2 weeks ago, Captain Yu had stopped a war between the Zenthari and Keth by simply arriving at their peace talks. Both species immediately focused on the predator threat instead of fighting each other. The pattern was always the same. When prey species faced something they could not handle, they called humanity. The humans solved the problem efficiently. Then everyone went back to being afraid of them. "We're becoming the galaxy's cleanup crew," Dr. Park muttered to himself. His research had uncovered records of 3 previous predator species that reached space travel. The Kethmori they had encountered in the nebula, the Vaktar Empire from the Outer Rim, the HFY Confederation from the galactic core. All 3 species had been given the same role. All 3 had been called protectors or guardians by the prey species. All 3 had eventually been destroyed. The Kethmori destroyed themselves in civil wars after becoming isolated from galactic society. The Vaktar were eliminated by a coalition of 20 prey species who decided they had become too dangerous. The HFY accepted genetic modification to suppress their predator instincts, then slowly lost their technological abilities and went extinct when the next major crisis arrived. Dr. Park closed the historical files and walked to the human quarters. He found Counselor Yuna Shin conducting her daily meetings with crew members. Her reports had become increasingly worried over the past months. "How are they holding up?" Dr. Park asked when the session ended. Counselor Shin looked tired. "Not well. Engineer Song hasn't slept properly in weeks. She keeps having nightmares about being hunted by something she can't see. Communications Officer Kang has stopped eating in the main cafeteria because he says the aliens' fear makes him feel sick." "What about the others?" Security Chief Lee spends most of his time alone in his quarters. He says being around the aliens makes him feel like a monster. Pilot Nam asked me yesterday if humans were evil because everyone in the galaxy is afraid of us. Dr. Park sat down heavily. The psychological toll on the human crew was getting worse each day. Living surrounded by beings who saw them as apex predators was destroying their mental health. "There's something else," Counselor Shin continued. "I've been monitoring galactic communication networks. Footage of our missions has been spreading throughout alien civilizations. They're studying how we fight, how we think, how we hunt." She activated a holographic display showing alien news broadcasts. The images showed humans moving through the Veil Station, systematically eliminating the fear-feeding creatures. The footage had been slowed down and analyzed frame by frame. "They're fascinated and terrified by our efficiency," Counselor Shin explained. "Some call us saviors, others call us the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but none of them see us as equals or friends." The situation reached a breaking point 3 days later. Political officer Yongsuk Go received an urgent message from the Zenthari Empire, the oldest and most powerful civilization in the galaxy. The message was delivered by a Zenthari diplomat who kept his distance and spoke through a communication screen instead of meeting face-to-face. "The Zenthari Empire has issued an ultimatum to humanity," the diplomat announced. "You have become too dangerous to remain unchanged. You must accept genetic modification to suppress your predator instincts within 30 days, or face complete isolation from galactic civilization." Ambassador Taeho Kim listened to the demands with growing anger. "What kind of modifications?" "Alterations to your brain chemistry to reduce aggression, competitive instincts, and hunting behaviors. Additionally, your forward-facing eyes would be surgically modified to side-facing positions. Your muscle density would be reduced. Your reflexes would be slowed." "You want to turn us into prey animals," Taeho said flatly. "We want to make you safe," the diplomat replied. "Every species that has joined galactic civilization has made similar modifications. It is the price of acceptance." Dr. Park stepped forward. "What happened to the species that refused?" The diplomat's skin changed to a nervous blue color. "They were isolated until they changed their minds or went extinct. There have been no exceptions." After the communication ended, the human delegation gathered in their main conference room. The weight of the decision pressed down on them like a heavy blanket. "If we accept the modifications, we stop being human," Captain Yu said quietly. "We become something else entirely. If we refuse, we face exile from galactic civilization," Ambassador Taeho pointed out. "Humanity would be alone in the universe. Political Officer Go had been researching the fates of previous predator species. I found something disturbing in the archives. The HFY Confederation accepted similar modifications 800 years ago. Within 50 years, they had lost most of their technological advancement. When the Void Crisis hit their sector, they couldn't defend themselves. The entire species died out. What was the Void Crisis? Dr. Choi asked. Hostile machines from outside the galaxy. The same type of threat we might face someday. The HFY had been the galaxy's primary defenders. But after their modifications, they couldn't fight effectively anymore. The room fell silent as everyone understood the implications. Accepting the modifications might not just change humanity. It might doom the galaxy when the next real threat appeared. Engineer Song spoke up from her corner of the room. I've been analyzing our technology compared to alien designs. Our weapons, ships, and defense systems are all more advanced because we think like predators. If we lose that, we lose our ability to protect anyone, including ourselves, Security Chief Lee added grimly. Ambassador Taiho stood and walked to the large window overlooking the station's main docking area. Dozens of alien ships were leaving, their crews unwilling to stay near the human delegation any longer than necessary. So we have a choice, he said without turning around. Become something we're not, and possibly doom the galaxy to future destruction, or remain what we are and face immediate exile. There might be a third option, Captain Yu suggested. We could prove that predators can coexist with prey species, show them that we're not their enemies. Dr. Park shook his head sadly. I've studied the historical records. Every predator species tried to prove themselves. None succeeded. Fear runs too deep. As the meeting ended, each human delegation member faced the same terrible question. Was being human worth the price of galactic isolation? Or should they sacrifice their nature for the chance to belong? The deadline was approaching and humanity's fate hung in the balance. The alarms screamed through every corridor of the galactic station. Emergency lights flashed red as panicked voices filled the communication channels. Ambassador Taiho Kim ran toward the main command center, where hundreds of alien technicians worked frantically at their stations. What's happening? Taiho demanded as he reached the Nethrian council leader. The bird-like alien's feathers were pure white with terror. The Omega machines have entered our galaxy. 3 entire star systems have gone silent in the past hour, on the massive display screens. Taiho watched the destruction unfold. Mechanical ships the size of moons swept through space, destroying everything in their path. Planets, space stations, and entire fleets vanished under waves of robotic attackers. How many ships do they have? Taiho asked. Our sensors count over 10,000 vessels, the Nethrian leader replied, and more keep coming through some kind of dimensional gateway. Dr. Mina Park appeared beside Taiho, having run from the research labs. I've been analyzing their attack patterns. These machines target all organic life. They don't negotiate, don't communicate, don't take prisoners. They simply destroy everything biological they encounter. Around the command center, representatives from dozens of alien species huddled together in fear. Their natural prey instincts were triggering mass panic. Some were already talking about evacuation. Others spoke of surrender, even though the machines clearly would not accept it. Captain Deonyu studied the tactical displays with growing concern. Where are the galactic defense fleets? Retreating, admitted a Zenthari military commander, his blue skin dark with shame. Our ships cannot match their firepower. Our tactics are designed for defense and evasion, not direct confrontation. What about the Thoraxian coalition fleet? Captain Yu asked. Hidden in the outer nebulae. They're waiting to see if the machines pass by their territory. Taiho felt sick as he realized what was happening. Every prey-evolved species was following their evolutionary programming. When faced with an overwhelming predator, they were scattering, hiding, or freezing in place. None of them could mount an effective counterattack. How long until the machines reach this sector? Taiho asked. 18 hours, the Nethrian leader replied. Maybe less. General Minji Ro, who had arrived on the most recent human transport, stepped forward. She was a career military officer with gray hair and steady eyes that never showed fear. I need to see all available tactical data, General Rowe announced. Fleet positions, weapon capabilities, supply lines, everything. The alien commanders looked at each other nervously. Sharing military secrets with a predator species went against all their instincts, but with destruction approaching, they had no choice. As the data flowed across the screens, General Rowe's expression grew more confident. This is a classic hunting scenario. The machines are acting like pack predators, driving prey toward a killing ground. What do you mean? Asked the Zenthari commander. They're not just attacking randomly. Look at the pattern. General Rowe pointed to the display. They're herding your fleets toward the galactic core. Once all your ships are trapped, there they'll surround and destroy them all at once. The revelation sent waves of terror through the assembled aliens. Their military leaders had fallen into exactly the trap their enemies expected. Ambassador Taiho saw an opportunity in the crisis. We can help you, but not as subordinates or modified creatures, as equal partners. You want us to trust our survival to predators? The Nethrian leader asked. You want to survive, don't you? Taiho replied bluntly. Your prey instincts are getting you killed. You need predator instincts to fight back. For the next hour, heated debates raged throughout the command center. Some alien species wanted to accept human help. Others preferred to face extinction rather than trust their ancient enemies. The argument ended when the machines arrived 6 hours early. They're here, Dr. Park announced as sensor readings filled the screens. 50,000 mechanical ships just emerged from hyperspace at the edge of this system. Panic exploded through the command center. Alien evacuation ships began launching immediately, but General Rowe remained calm, studying the enemy formations. They're making the same mistake they did in the other systems, she observed. They expect prey behavior. They're not prepared to fight actual predators. Captain Yu joined the general at the tactical display. What do you have in mind? Pack hunting tactics on a galactic scale. We use the aliens' natural abilities, their speed, sensor networks, and evasion skills, combined with human strategic thinking and aggressive instincts. General Rowe activated the communication system, broadcasting to every ship in the sector. All vessels, this is General Rowe of the human forces. Do not retreat, do not scatter. Form up on my coordinates and prepare for coordinated attack. The humans want us to fight alongside them, transmitted a Corvani ship captain. Should we trust them? They're predators, replied a Zenthari pilot. But right now, we need predators. One by one, alien ships began changing course. Instead of fleeing, they moved toward the human formation. Fear of the machines was finally stronger than fear of humanity. General Rowe divided the combined fleet into hunting groups. Each group contained fast alien ships for reconnaissance and evasion, supported by heavily armed human vessels for direct assault. The machines hunt in straight lines, General Rowe explained over the fleet communication channel. They expect their prey to run directly away. Instead, we're going to circle around and attack from multiple directions. The battle began with the aliens doing what they did best, using their speed and sensors to scout enemy positions while staying hidden. The prey species had spent millions of years perfecting these abilities. Meanwhile, human ships used patience and planning to position themselves for maximum impact. When General Rowe gave the signal, they struck with coordinated precision that the machines had never encountered. The Omega machines had defeated every civilization they met because those civilizations acted like prey. But humanity taught the galaxy to hunt. Working together, prey and predator species created something neither could achieve alone. The aliens' natural vigilance detected threats that human sensors missed. Human tactical thinking found weaknesses that alien minds could not see. The tide turned when Engineer Song discovered that the machine's artificial intelligence could not adapt to cooperative hunting behavior. They were programmed to fight prey species that scattered when attacked. They had no response to coordinated pack tactics. They don't understand teamwork, Song reported. Their creators must have been solitary predators. They can't process the idea of natural enemies working together. The battle lasted 14 hours. When it ended, the machine fleet was destroyed. The dimensional gateway collapsed. The galaxy was safe. In the aftermath, Ambassador Taiho stood before the Galactic Council, once again, but this time the alien representatives looked at him differently. Fear was still there, but it was mixed with something new. Respect. Humanity has proven something we thought impossible, the Nethrian leader announced. Predators can protect, as well as hunt. You have earned your place in galactic civilization. The genetic modification ultimatum was quietly withdrawn. New agreements were signed establishing humanity as the galaxy's primary defense force, with full rights and representation in galactic government. Dr. Park delivered the final assessment in his official report. For the first time in galactic history, prey species can sleep peacefully knowing that somewhere in the darkness predators are standing guard. Not hunting them, but hunting the things that would hunt them. Humanity had found their true purpose among the stars. They were the galaxy's apex guardians, the shepherds who protected the flock not by becoming sheep, but by remaining wolves.